Leadership plays a crucial role in the progress and prosperity of any nation. It is the compass that guides a country towards its goals, shaping its destiny and influencing the lives of its citizens. A strong and ethical leader inspires trust, fosters unity, and creates an environment where people can thrive. They prioritize the needs of their people, making decisions that benefit the collective good rather than serving personal interests. By upholding the values of integrity, accountability, and transparency, effective leaders lay a solid foundation for sustainable development and a brighter future for their nation. History provides numerous examples of how visionary leaders have transformed their countries. From Nelson Mandela's fight against apartheid in South Africa to Lee Kuan Yew's leadership in Singapore's economic miracle, these individuals demonstrated the transformative power of honest and effective governance. They understood that true leadership lies in serving the people and working tirelessly to improve their lives. Such leaders inspire generations to come and leave behind a legacy that extends far beyond their time in office. However, the absence of ethical leadership can have devastating consequences for a nation. When leaders prioritize personal gain over the welfare of their people, it creates a breeding ground for corruption, inequality, and social unrest. Corruption erodes trust in institutions, discourages investment, and hinders economic growth. It creates a system where the powerful few benefit at the expense of the many, leading to widespread poverty, lack of opportunities, and a sense of hopelessness among citizens. In such an environment, basic services like healthcare, education, and infrastructure suffer. Funds intended for public good are diverted to private pockets, leaving ordinary citizens to bear the brunt of inadequate services and limited opportunities. This vicious cycle of corruption and underdevelopment can trap a nation in a downward spiral, hindering its progress and potential for generations. Corruption, a pervasive issue in many parts of the world, can manifest in various forms, from bribery and extortion to abuse of power and embezzlement of public funds. When leaders engage in corrupt practices, they betray the trust bestowed upon them by the people they are meant to serve. Instead of acting as custodians of the nation's resources, they treat them as personal assets, enriching themselves while neglecting the needs of the very people who elected them. The consequences of corruption extend far beyond the immediate financial losses. It undermines the rule of law, erodes public trust in institutions, and creates an uneven playing field where businesses and individuals who refuse to engage in corrupt practices are disadvantaged. This can stifle innovation, discourage foreign investment, and hinder economic growth, ultimately harming the country's long-term development prospects. Moreover, corruption disproportionately affects the most vulnerable members of society. When resources are diverted away from essential services like healthcare and education, it is the poor and marginalized who suffer the most. They are denied access to quality healthcare, their children receive subpar education, and they are trapped in a cycle of poverty that becomes increasingly difficult to break. The fight against corruption requires a multi-pronged approach. It demands strong institutions that are independent and empowered to investigate and prosecute corrupt officials, regardless of their position or influence. Transparency and accountability mechanisms, such as asset declaration requirements for public officials and open procurement processes, are essential to deter corruption and ensure that public resources are used responsibly. Kenya, a nation with abundant potential, has long grappled with the challenges posed by corruption. Despite efforts to combat this issue, it continues to cast a shadow over the country's progress, affecting various aspects of Kenyan society. The lack of accountability and transparency in governance has eroded public trust, leaving many citizens disillusioned and questioning the effectiveness of their leaders. One of the most devastating consequences of this corruption is its impact on the daily lives of ordinary Kenyans. The siphoning off of public funds intended for essential services has left many sectors, including healthcare, education, and infrastructure, severely underfunded and ill-equipped to meet the needs of the population. Hospitals often lack basic medical supplies and equipment, forcing patients to endure long wait times and inadequate care. Schools, particularly in rural areas, are overcrowded and understaffed, with limited access to textbooks and other learning materials. This disparity in access to quality education perpetuates a cycle of poverty, limiting opportunities for future generations. The lack of job opportunities and economic prospects further exacerbates the challenges faced by many Kenyans. With unemployment rates remaining stubbornly high, particularly among young people, Many struggle to make ends meet and provide for their families. The situation is further compounded by the rising cost of living, making it increasingly difficult for ordinary citizens to afford basic necessities. Despite the challenges, there is hope for a brighter future for Kenya. A growing number of citizens are becoming increasingly vocal in their demands for accountability and transparency in governance. Civil society organizations and activists are playing a crucial role in raising awareness about the detrimental effects of corruption and advocating for reforms that promote good governance. Moving forward, it is essential for Kenya to prioritize strengthening its institutions and empowering them to operate independently and effectively. This includes reforming the judiciary to ensure its impartiality and efficiency in prosecuting corruption cases, regardless of the status or influence of those involved. Furthermore, promoting a culture of transparency and accountability is paramount. This can be achieved through measures such as implementing stricter asset declaration requirements for public officials, ensuring open and competitive procurement processes, and protecting whistleblowers who expose corrupt practices. Ultimately, the responsibility to combat corruption and demand better governance lies not only with the government, but also with the citizens. By actively participating in the democratic process, holding their leaders accountable, and demanding transparency, Kenyans can work together to build a more just and equitable society for all.